Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Augustus, and I'm back again with another episode of Tsukihime. When we last left off, we had our first bad end, and our first encounter with Ciel-sensei. And this episode, we are going to continue on the story proper, at least until we get to the next bad end, which is, well, not that far away. But anyway, let's get back on with it, shall we? Still, I can't leave her alone. I did promise, after all. No matter what it was I promised, I can't break it. Arcueid is sleeping. Her face is a pale white, like that of a sick person. Arcueid said she was weak. She said she was at her limit a while ago, so I don't think she considered what I could do after she went to sleep. The room is quiet. We're on the 11th floor, the top floor. Since she rented out the whole floor, there are no other guests here. The only sound is Arcueid's breathing. When I see her like this, she really looks nightmarishly beautiful. That white, smooth skin and that silky, light blonde hair, the soft lines of her body and those long eyelashes that look like swift brushstrokes. A perfect body, down to even the small details, the likes of which I've never seen before. No, to be more precise, the kind I never would have seen in my entire life. Vampire or not, Arcueid is a girl. I have to take responsibility for the fact she's so weak now that she falls asleep instantly like she just did. You have to take responsibility for your own deeds. A part of my childhood education makes an appearance in my head. Sensei even told me, my eyes are strange, so they would in turn attract strange things. Then I should be prepared to take responsibility. At the very least, I should keep my promise and protect her for tonight. White. The kind you see when you wake up. The color calls some nostalgic memories to mind. A hot summer day. A blue sky, large columns of summer cloud. The scenery slowly wavers in the heat. The voice of cicadas. The sound of cicadas. Chirp, chirp, chirp. I don't actually know how to mimic a cicada sound, sadly, and that's going to be something that's going to be prevalent through this entire game. I can do a bit of a bird sound, but that's not what cicadas sound like. If you don't know what they sound like, you should look it up. They have a very distinct... I would describe it to my own ears as a bit more of a droning kind of chirp than a bird chirp. Yeah. Chirp, chirp, chirp. Cicada shells are lying in the clearing. As if the sun is right by my side, the clearing is roasting. A hot midsummer's day, as if the entire world became a frying pan. Wah, 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 wah. Oh, that was sorry. That was very insensitive. I didn't realize what that was until just now. That's well, that was a hell of a cry. Akia is crying. Akia, who would always obediently stay close behind me, is brimming with tears. Actually, doing the kind of droning noise is probably a bit better than me trying to cry like a... How old was she? Like 10? No, like 5? 7? Something like that? Little girl? No, that's not going to be a pretty noise at all. A child lies collapsed at her feet, soaked in blood, killed. The corpse of a child about my age, a cast-off cicada shell. My 2 hands are red with the blood of that collapsed child. Shiki! The adults are coming. The fallen child is still dead. The adults are yelling. Did you kill him? That dream. a dream I had forgotten even in my dreams. I feel like I remember. Shiki, hey, wake up. The sun's already set. Someone is shaking me. A somewhat unfamiliar voice and the touch of a cold hand on my shoulder. Arcueid is standing right in front of me. She's already woken up and it's pitch black outside, and none too happy if I were to guess. I glance at the clock and it says it's already 8. It's not I told you to wake up when the sun went down and you go and fall asleep, or wake me up when the sun went down. Crap. Sorry, I was feeling out of it. I don't remember when I fell asleep, but I'm sure it was while I was staring at Arcueid's sleeping face. Please, you lose your qualification as a bodyguard like that. If the enemy had attacked while we were both sleeping, we could have both died, you know. I said I'm sorry. Besides, you said it was safe during the daytime. I can't say that for sure. Familiars, like the one we saw this morning, could have come for us. Arcueid is angry. Well, she's got a right to be. I've got no right to talk when I, the bodyguard, dozed off while she was sleeping. And besides, I am a vampire, you know. How could you just sleep there without feeling any danger? I don't want you to be afraid for no reason, but it'd be nice if you were at least tense enough not to sleep. I take that back. Arcueid doesn't seem to care that I didn't do my job as a bodyguard. She just doesn't seem to like the fact I fell asleep. I can move my body a little better and wake up, only to find you sleeping there happily. You look so vulnerable, I was seriously starting to feel uneasy that I might not have the dignity befitting a vampire. That's, well, we'll see about that. Well, I don't think she has much dignity. You're just as vulnerable yourself. I killed you once before, remember? You can't guarantee I won't do it again, can you? Arcueid gives a surprised look as if she only just realized it. Now that you mention it, you're right. I wonder why I did that. I guess I just had complete confidence in you since we spoke in the alley. Well, saying that doesn't make me feel bad for her. Okay. Since you trusted me so much, I'll try my best. So, should I just keep watch from now on? Yeah, until sunrise tomorrow. I can't leave the room, so be on guard if someone comes up to this floor. Be on guard, huh? Being on guard is going to do me no good, and if one of those black dogs from this morning comes for us... I let out a sigh. As expected, this is too heavy a role for me. Let me ask you something. Was the black dog that attacked us this morning something your enemy sent out? I don't think so. It was probably for surveillance. Its patrol route happens to pass through where you and I were talking, and it seems my presence was revealed as a result. Revealed? To your enemy? That's right. If I had been in perfect condition, it would actually save me some time. But right now, it's the opposite. If I were attacked now, I'd be the one annihilated. That's why I have to hide out like this until my power returns. Arcueid's enemy. In other words, the serial killer who's been causing the stir in this town. A vampire. Arcueid, I want to ask you something. Will you answer my question? I don't mind talking, but why are you being so formal all of a sudden? Yeah, I haven't asked you the most important thing yet. So, what's your ultimate objective here? Me? I'm here to hunt down the vampire. Killing vampires is my duty. Yeah, I do remember you saying something like that before. But you're a vampire, right? What? You still don't believe me? Oh, don't worry, I believe you so much it hurts. I'm asking why you, a vampire, claim to be doing something as odd as killing other vampires. Oh, you don't like the idea of beings from the same species killing each other? The act of killing doesn't exactly make my list of favorite things, but she is right. I'm not comfortable with the ideas of vampires killing vampires. No, it's just that I can't really imagine something like that happening. Vampires drain the blood of humans, right? So they should be killing humans, not other vampires. Drinking blood and killing people are different things. Well, even so, I know what you're trying to say. You think beings from the same species should help each other out, right? But vampires can be of the same species and still be different life forms. That's why they don't really have what you humans call camaraderie. And they're saying something makes you different from the vampire you're hunting? That's right. The one I'm after is a human vampire, just like the stereotypical vampire from you humans' folklores. Apparently I'm very tired and making a lot of mistakes while reading. He kills humans by draining their blood, turning them into the dead, and uses them to increase his power and influence. And that's the sort of vampire I hunt. But he went to Grateful Dead fans, well, didn't have to do much work with me. Haha, 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 I'm funny. The one lurking in this town is that sort of old-style vampire. That sort of vampire? It seems like there are different types. Don't tell me you want me to be your shield so you can get this guy? Yeah, that was my original intent. But after talking to you, I've changed my mind. She just likes our present, huh? You see, at first, I thought you were someone from the church. So I thought you might have the information about the location of the enemy, but you turned out to be a perfectly ordinary person. I mean, ordinary is a bit of a stretch, but for the most part. You didn't even know about vampires, let alone the location of the enemy's coffin. Coffin, that makes me think. I don't remember if that ever comes up again. I don't know if that's actually ever mentioned again in this game in terms of anything. Somebody, if you're watching and paying attention to that, please, if there are any more references to the enemy's coffin, maybe make note of that, or maybe I will probably forget to do so. Yeah, come to think of it, there's no way they'd send an exorcist to a Far East secular country like this one. I guess I didn't put enough thought into that. I'll hold you to that, by the way. Arcueid thinks aloud. Her conversation derails, and I'm feeling a little left out. I don't follow you at all, Arcueid. Hold on for a moment. Let's see, how should I explain this? With that, Arcueid's gaze begins to drift. She doesn't seem to be used to holding a conversation. Don't worry about it and just explain everything about the current situation. I don't understand any of this, but I might be able to see the general gist of things. Yes, Shiki's not that dumb. He's a bit dense, but he's actually not that dumb. Really? Thanks, Shiki. You don't have to thank me. Just keep talking. Arcueid nods obediently. Basically, the vampire currently in this town is an old-style vampire. He himself reigns as the Lord and releases the dead he made into the city. By doing so, he increases his power bit by bit. He is a typical vampire in that he drains the blood of humans, and those humans become vampires themselves. He's not very powerful right now as he doesn't have many dead serving him, but as the victims increase, so does his power. It would be best to try to destroy the main body before that happens, but I haven't found where he sleeps yet. I guess that's technically another mention. He's hidden so well right now, I can't even feel his presence. Even so, it's easy to take care of things once I find it. But I don't have any clues whatsoever, so I had no choice but to walk around town during the day to investigate. But then I got suddenly attacked by a passing killer, and now I'm temporarily weaker than the enemy vampire. Arcueid shoots me a cold look. I guess she wants to say something to the passing killer. I see. I kind of understand the situation now. So in other words, some evil monsters are based in this town and you're here to eliminate them. Since you don't know where they are, you went looking for them, and that's when I killed you. So, now that you're weakened and hiding out while you recover, is that about right? To put it simply, I think so. Then, next is the main topic. You casually call yourself a vampire, but I still don't really understand that term. It's obvious that you're not a human, that much I can see, but I don't get the feeling that you're a vampire either. That's true. I'm a little different from the type of vampire you know about. Indeed. I hadn't considered that vampires even existed at all, let alone a vampire like you. So, what makes you different? Arcueid thinks. I smelled smoke wafting from her. Yes, I suppose it might be helpful to teach you a bit about us. Alright. In the first period's lesson will be Vampires 101. Ooh, are you going to bring CL Sensei back? Okay, but what's with Vampires 101? You're an amateur at this, so you've got to start with the basics, right? That's why I'm going to teach you from the very beginning. Okay, whatever. Just keep it short. A very familiar response. Well, I'll try my best. It really does seem like she's not used to talking. Well, we've got a lot of time, so for now I guess I'll listen to Arcueid without complaint. Although we're typically simply called vampires, we're divided into two main categories. Those who were vampires from the start, and those who became vampires. The former are called true ancestors, and the latter are called the dead apostles. The ones you called vampires are the dead apostles. They drain the blood of humans and turn them into their slaves. They're weak against sunlight, and you can vanquish them with a baptism ritual. Our enemy is one of those dead apostles. It's gone from my enemy to our enemy. Well, I don't mind. She's not wrong considering the situation I'm in now. So you're saying these dead apostles aren't vampires from the start? What do you mean by that? Dead apostles were once humans. They've attained immortality through magic or had their blood sucked by one of the true ancestors. Either way, the one that becomes vampire become immortal even though it's imperfect immortality. Those who were vampires from the beginning and humans who became vampires. What is this? I get the feeling that there's some kind of huge contradiction to all of this. It feels like some important fundamentals are missing somewhere in this theory. Hey, Shiki. How much do you know about vampire folklore? Sorry, I need to scroll to check something. Okay. Let's see. Just the usual stuff. They suck blood of virgins. They can blind people just by looking at them. They can turn into mist and wolves and just the usual stuff you hear about, normal stuff. That's pretty much all true. They drain the blood of virgins because one's blood cells are more pure before one has exchanged bodily fluids with another. Man, Nasu and exchanging bodily fluids. Well, we'll get there one day. That makes virgins the most suitable for repairing the vampire's own degenerating genes. The dead apostles, the one who have become vampires, have imperfect immortality. Since they became immortal, they won't die of old age. Is this still being spoken? I'm not sure. There's no quotations, but that could have been a mistake. Oh well. However, they need to replenish their cells, or they need to replenish their energy frequently, or they'll disappear. All living creatures need nutrients to be able to move, right? It's the same thing. It's just that vampires don't die from age as long as they take in nutrients. That was still a quote. Okay. Thanks for missing the quotation marks, guys. Thanks, translators. I'm kidding. I'm not being facetious, I promise. The dead apostles suck blood because they need to stay alive. Immortality is a strain on their originally human bodies. The genes that compose of their bodies are different, When they became vampires, they began to degenerate at an incredible rate. To make up for that, they must drain the blood of others in order to absorb genetic information and stabilize their own bodies. To a vampire, drinking blood is not like eating, but it's the minimum requirement for them to continue to exist. This sounds complex and long. I can't fathom the logic, but Arcueid nonetheless continues speaking. So, moving on, the ability to bind someone with just a look is a type of mystic eyes. Eyes and words are both common types of magic circuits, so there are many vampires who have mystic eyes. We usually possess the mystic eyes of enchantment. We don't enchant people by looking at them, rather, we enchant those who look into our eyes. A powerful vampire using mystic eyes can impose his will into the brain of another and completely dominate their thoughts, but the mystic eyes of a dead apostle don't have that much power. What you call turning into mist is really just making a spare body and controlling it via the will. Once the part serves its purpose, you cut the flow of magical energy to the offshoot and naturally it returns to dust. Wolves and other animal transformations are a byproduct of a vampire's repairing its damaged body from its familiars. For a vampire living a long time, stabilizing their body with normal lives is not sufficient. Humans are not fundamentally powerful animals, so it's more effective to repair one's body by absorbing beasts, as they surpass the human species in this respect. Vampires who repair their bodies with beasts can return those beasts to their previous forms and use them as familiars when they need to. From what I've heard, there's even a 1,000-year-old vampire whose body is made up entirely of familiars. They say he contains 666 beasts within his body, or something like that, anyway. I think Arcueid is getting a little too wrapped up in her own speech. To be honest, I'm not finding this world easy to understand. Yeah, that's about it. It's just an explanation of the very basics, but now do you know what a vampire is? Well, I suppose. The reality of Arcueid being a vampire begins to feel harder and harder to accept. Now, it's my turn. Actually, there's something important I've forgotten to ask you, too. What? You're not going to learn anything from me. I'm not a vampire or anything, just a normal student. Then let me ask you this, Shiki. How exactly did you kill me? Huh? This, ladies and gentlemen, I think is going to be a good stopping point, because I think what's going to come next is going to be a little bit longer before I hit a good stopping point, and I don't want things to go too long, you see. But will Shiki explain to Arc how he killed her? Will she understand? Will she actually properly believe us? And will she make fun of us relentlessly for it? Find out the answer to that and more next time. I hope to see you all there.